The question is, where's Louis? Why am I filming an episode on my own? The first solo Losses and Gains episode. I'll tell you why. Because Louis decided to go on a little trip to Dubai with the family and has forgotten about this chosen family. So if you ever thought for a second that Louis loved you more than me, forget it. Okay? He abandoned us. Dubai, of all places, to go on holiday. Do you know what I mean? With the fat. I'm disappointed. But do you know what? I have whipped out arguably, potentially, yet to record, so we'll find out, my favorite episode yet. So when I was thinking like, what do I do with this solo episode? Well, it's December, right? And my birthday's New Year's Eve. So December's always this time of year for me where I really reflect on the past year because, January 1st, I'm a new age, so it feels like a fresh start. And particularly this year or this last 18 months has been probably the toughest emotional year for me in my life to date, for many reasons. And I thought, well, why don't I just like take a little peruse through my journal? It's Christmas in the spirit of giving. Why don't I just give them a peek into my journal and look at the lessons that I've learned over this year with context, drawing on sort of what those experiences were and what I've learned. And look, I'm not a therapist, okay? So take some of this advice with a pinch of salt, but if it helps you, fantastic. Because, what is this podcast about? It's for gays that want growth and a little giggle, okay? So I've given myself 3 minutes. There's 12 lessons for 12 months. I've given myself 3 minutes per episode, which is already stressing me out because I love to waffle. So should we get into it? Well, first of all, let me tell you the context of the year. So, rewind 18 months ago, it's summer 2023. Now, at this point, I have produced a sizzle reel for a TV show myself about my old business, Grindhouse, and I send it out to anyone that I know that works in TV, and it got picked up by BBC Studios Productions, so a major production company, and they're shopping it around various channels and streaming services to try and get it commissioned. So I'm thinking, oh my God, this is so exciting. This is going to be the breath of fresh air that we've been waiting for Grindhouse. This could be the thing that makes Grindhouse explode, right? Now, exactly at the same time as we were in the last two to be commissioned for Channel 4, I don't know if I'm supposed to be saying this, but never mind. The studio had to close. We found out that the Grindhouse studio was going to close. We then didn't get the commission. So the TV show was just a pipe dream that just went away in the wind. And then the studio had to close. And then when the studio closed, 3 of the founders left. So it was just me and Louis left. And that all kind of happened in the space of 6 months. And then that takes us to the start of this year, 2024, when Louis and I were thinking, right, we need to turn this business around. And unfortunately, we couldn't turn it around in time. And we then had to close the business that we'd spent the last 4 years of our life building. With that came loss of friendships, loss of a hell of a lot of money for investors, loss of this baby that we'd, poured our heart and soul into. And that was an extremely tough time. And, in the ashes of that, I then sort of built Gains, and Gains is obviously flourishing, but sort of going from one to the other without really sort of taking a break has been incredibly stressful as well. As much as it has been amazing, I'm so grateful for it. And then I also broke up with my boyfriend, and it's been a lot of loss, but also there has been some silver lining. So that's just the context. Let's get into the 12 lessons. So I'm going to start my stopwatch now. Lesson number 1. Sometimes you have to be okay with being the villain. Now, I had to learn this the hard way because when the business closed, there was fallouts. There was angry investors, right? And what you need to understand is that sometimes, either people don't always have the full context, right? And also sometimes people don't wanna hear the full context. Sometimes people just do not have the tools to be able to have difficult conversations, and you may feel unjust. You may feel like, "This is not fair," but at the end of the day, if they've only got half the story, they're gonna paint you out to be the villain, and if you go to them and you say, I wanna talk this through, and I wanna give you the full context," and they don't want to have that conversation, that's not your fault. You've tried. You've tried to do the work. You've tried to be diplomatic. You've tried to have a conversation about it. If they don't wanna have that conversation, that's not your fault, okay? And so sometimes in life, you do have to be okay with being the villain, and right now you're probably thinking, "Oh god, yeah, there's that thing where I was painted out to be the villain there." Whether it be a work thing, whether it be with your partner, whether it be with a friend, any kind of professional setting, a client or something like that. There may have been a time when you have been made out to be the villain, and it just feels so fucking unfair. But I remember having a conversation with my therapist and being like, "I just like, I don't understand. Like, I actually have not done anything wrong, or if I have done something wrong, like I've recognized my part in it, and I've said to that person, like, this is my part, and I apologize for that. But this is the role that you have to play, and sometimes people do not like confrontation. Now, confrontation is different to conflict. Confrontation is when you turn the mirror around and you put it on them and you make them look at themselves, and that is too much for some people. And in those instances, you just have to kinda go, "Hmm, well, I'm gonna have to be the bigger man for this little person, or these little people." And you just have to swallow your pride. And I'm not gonna say that it's gonna feel good. I'm gonna, you know, I have fucking arguments in the bathroom mirror, brushing my teeth, walking along, like, it's still in me. But I've been okay with the fact that I've done everything that I could. I've said everything that I could. I've apologized for what I need to apologize for, and if that person just can't sort of, like, come to the same accountability as me, then I have to be okay with being the villain to that person. 3 minutes on the dot. That's lesson number 1. Okay. Lesson number 2, letting go is an act of self-love. So this is a bit of a segue on from the last one. If there is someone in your life that is not growing with you and your values don't align anymore, you need to learn to let go. So when I lost some friends this past year, it was really, really hard for me because a friend is supposed to be somebody that lasts beyond like a relationship, a boyfriend. It's harder to lose a friend than it is to lose a boyfriend because you're not supposed to break up with your friends, especially ones that you've been friends with for over a decade. But in certain environments, people, especially ones under stress, people will show their true colors. And you know, if you have very much been friends from a point in your life where you didn't really have much responsibility, where it was just about having fun, when life gets different, when the going gets tough and life gets harder, people will show their true colors. And it may be the hardest thing to swallow to go, I don't like how that person treated me, or that was weird what that person said. And you start to sort of like go do 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 do, and things start to like sort of come into focus a little bit more. Maybe you have to accept that that person is not meant to be in your life anymore. And I'm telling you now, I'm still not okay with it. And I speak with my therapist, I speak with some other friends about it on the regular because it's a point of so much tension for me. But I would only be reaching out or trying to make amends with that person so that I would not feel like the villain, so that I cannot have anybody that doesn't dislike me. I wouldn't be doing it because I genuinely think that that person would be a good friend moving forwards. So really think about why you are holding on to that relationship, that friend, even that family member that treats you like fucking shit, okay? Are you holding on to that more than you need to? Or would it be an act of self-love to actually let go, just lose your expectations around that person and invest in those friends that have grown with you, that are capable of having difficult conversations, that treat you with respect? I don't know. Okay, that's lesson number 2. Okay, we're making good time. I'm not waffling as much as I thought I would. Let's move on to lesson 3. So lesson number 3, create what you feel like is missing slash create your own opportunities. So I gave you some context at the start of this episode, right, about this TV show concept that I had made. Look, I've wanted to work in television since I was really young, but not just, go on a reality TV show to get fame. I've had many opportunities to do that. That doesn't interest me. I've always been more excited about the production side of things as well as sort of being on camera. And so I just decided, I thought, do you know what? Grindhouse should be a fucking TV show. We're the cast. We work on camera for a living, so we know how to be on camera. We've got a really interesting story. We could potentially lose our business. We built it in like the pandemic, which was the toughest time. We raised money. We need to raise more money. So it was very much this story of like business and jeopardy, and the stakes are really high, and friendship. And it felt really interesting to me to sort of like see the more business side of something, because you have shows like Selling Sunsets where the cast are all sort of like glamorous and you see it in a business environment. We don't really know too much about the business and raising money and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, I produced this sizzle reel and it got picked up by a production company, and I cried when I got that email because I just couldn't believe that this whole time I've wanted to work in television. I've been waiting for opportunities to come my way, and I could have just been creating them the whole time, and it felt so validating to know that a piece of work that I created was a good piece of work. And then obviously more recently, Gaines and the Run Club, and creating a gay space that I felt I needed, and other people just needed as well. And, this may for you be on a much smaller scale than that. Maybe it is something in your relationship that you feel is missing that you haven't tried yet. Something in your work, I don't know. But what do you feel like is missing? Really examine that. What are you not grateful for? What environments are causing a point of tension for you? And what would you rather have? What would you rather spend your time doing? And is there an opportunity there for you to create it yourself instead of waiting for somebody else to give you the opportunity? Um, yeah, that was a really validating lesson for me, and I've learned it twice in the last year. And I'm looking forward to, leaning into that a little bit more and seeing if there's anything else that I feel like is missing that I need to create that could potentially help other people. And, it's fulfilling. If you feel a lack of fulfillment with your work, is there something that you could create? 3 minute. Ah, Connor, you are killing it with the timings. Okay, lesson number 4. Start. Slow the fuck down. Okay. Now, look, one of the reasons I believe that Grindhouse actually did end up failing was because we raised £1.5 million and we grew so fast that we, as the founders, didn't grow with the business. So we were out of our depth. Now, there was loads of other reasons as well, like, things that were outside of our control. But we because everything was moving so fast, we didn't, I think, learn the skills and the tools and the hacks and all these other things that we would need, um, to know how to face this adversity and sort of, like, pull ourselves through. And so, you know, earlier on in this year, Games was growing really fast, and I had people left, right, and center, saying, "Oh, you should do this, you should do that." And trying to make me grow the business of Gains, before I was ready to, before I even knew what I wanted Gains to be, But while I was still, like, building the community, like, that was the most important thing for me, and people were sort of, like, telling me to do this and telling me to do that and telling me to monetize it, and I was like, "I don't want to. I want to just, like, slow down and figure out what I want to do." I've just come off the back of building another business, and I don't want to immediately launch myself into another one that could potentially fail again. I need to understand what it is that I'm building. I need to understand what it is that the community wants, why this exists, why this is doing well, what it is that people want. And so I actually had to let go of a consultant that I was working with because they were pushing me too much to create something that I wasn't ready to create just so that they could, I guess, like, feel like their work that they were doing for me was making a difference, but it had the opposite effect. And so maybe there is something in your life right now that you are going through and you're feeling a lot of tension around it. Maybe you just need to slow down and breathe. Maybe it's not go, go, go. Maybe it's just like, let's not grow. Let's just enjoy where we're at right now. And maybe the answers will come. And I can tell you now, the last 3 months of this year, I've really understood what gains is, why it's important, why the community wants it, and where to go with it next. And I'm just so glad that I didn't just go, I'm going to monetize this and then just build a new business when I wasn't ready to, because now I get what people want. And I think that I've also built trust as well. And I just feel a lot more content in the value of the business and the value that will come without it feeling like just another business model, you know? Anyway, went over it on that one, but that is lesson number 4. Slow the fuck down. Okay, lesson 5. Trust your gut. Like, actually. Now, I know this is really generic. We've heard it all before. Trust your gut. But the problem that I had was that I couldn't decipher between my gut and my mind. I didn't know the difference. And, I guess I would feel a sensation in my gut and I'd go, what does that mean? And then I would start thinking about it. And then I wasn't sure at what point my mind was then taking over. And so it was really hard for me to decide sort of like the difference between my gut, right? Now, anxiety is from the head, right? That is your ego. Your gut instinct is that first initial, like, it's more emotion led, right? Or like fight or flight. Whereas anxiety that's your ego. That's all the worry and the fear coming through, right? Which makes you sort of then start masticating it in your head and thinking of all the ways and reasons that it's going to go wrong. Um, so when I then sort of learned the difference between my gut and my mind, and became more conscious of it and really observed it, I was able to follow it a lot more. And I did this year with gains, and it's been, a transformative year in terms of trusting myself. I have never trusted myself. I still have trust issues with myself for reasons we'll probably get onto later. I didn't trust myself. Not trusting yourself, that's not good, guys. Like, you need to be able to trust yourself, right? And really honing in on your intuition is, I think, an incredibly powerful tool. And I'm still learning. Like, I'm not perfect. I'm not sitting here for my high horse, right? I'm letting you in on my journal that I literally have been, hashing out this year. But I I can see the things that I was writing about that just felt right. And I just did those things, even like letting go of certain people, letting go of employees and stuff like that, because it was my intuition was telling me not to. My gut was like screaming at me, but then my head would come in and say, "Oh, but what about this? But what about that? But what about," the first initial feeling that you feel, really recognize that, and then look at when your mind then starts to talk you out of it, right? It takes practice. I'm still not perfect, but I just think you cannot go wrong if you trust your gut. And it may not feel like the right decision at first. It may feel really hard. You may have to fuck yourself over in order to follow it. I'm 100% sure it will all work out in the end. Boom, 3 minutes, 0.23 seconds, Connor, you're killing it, bro. Oof, who do I think I am? Okay, lesson 6. Oh, this one's a tough one. I feel like this one's gonna be more than 3 minutes. Practice acceptance. Oh, okay, I haven't really spoken about this much. I've referenced it, but I've never spoken about it really that vulnerably, and I wasn't sure whether I wanted to do it, but I just feel like it's the time. I feel like I want to talk about it because it's such a big part of me, a part that I have so much tension around. I am an addict. I am a well, in the past, I've been addicted to drugs, right? I've been in recovery since I was 27 years old from addiction. That is the true lesson in acceptance. That has been horrible. And look, I'm gonna be honest. For 2 years, I was completely clean of alcohol and drugs, and I was fucking bored. And I decided that I was going to start introducing alcohol, into my life again. And for nearly a year and a half, I did that. And at times, it really didn't end well for me. And I really had to accept that I don't have a problem with alcohol, but I have a problem with drugs. And I can't drink alcohol because it then, you know, I lose my inhibitions and it ends badly with other substances. And that that point of tension, but I know that I can go for fucking a drink at dinner and I can not start, chugging down the whole bottle of wine and going crazy. I know I'm not an alcoholic, but that tension of like knowing that the right thing to do is to not drink because it's too dangerous for me to then, lead on to other things. I could ruin my life. When I was 27, I fucking nearly did. And it's been so hard to accept that that is a part of me that I cannot change and that I can't be normal like other people. It's if there's anything that you're going through, that's a point of tension for you and your intuition is screaming at you to accept it. It is the hardest thing to do. I'm telling you, it's the hardest thing to do. But you know what's best for you. Emotionally, you know what's best for you. Logically, you know what's best for you, but your ego, "Oh, but what about this? But what about that?" Again, like, you're going against your intuition. Like, practicing acceptance is the most radical thing that you can do to find a sense of peace in your life, and I still have tension because I don't think I've truly still accepted it. But I'm closer now than I have been in the past, and, it's a fucking journey. It's a real hard journey, and I'm sure we'll talk about it more on other episodes when I've given myself more than fucking 3 minutes to talk about it, but that this year was such a point of tension for me, because when I broke up with my boyfriend, like, it reached a peak, and, I just realized this is dangerous. This is not where I wanna be at this point in my life, and I just had to accept that I can't be the person that I wanna be. I can't just have a drink at a meal because then I may have a drink in an environment where it's not safe for me to do so, and, I've got too much on the line. I want too much for myself. I love myself too much to to keep doing it to myself. So, it's a little bit of me. I hope that resonated with you. If anybody needs help with addiction, please reach out. That was 4 minutes, but I'm gonna cut myself some slack. Maybe the next one can be 2 minutes, okay? So, lesson 8, stop trying to control your path. I've been doing this for the last 10 years. I always told myself, I'm going to be a presenter. I'm going to be a presenter. And I did do presenting jobs when I was younger. And then I started working in fitness, and that sort of took over my life. And the presenting sort of like fizzled out a little bit. But I kept going, oh, I'm not meant to be working in fitness. I'm meant to be a presenter. And I kept like having this tension over the fact that I worked in fucking fitness, even though I was like doing so well and, like, killing it, like, master trainer at Barry's, setting up my own business, setting up another business, and I'd always had this point of tension that I'm not doing what I'm meant to be doing, and then I had this moment where I was watching all the press junkets for Wicked, where they're doing interviews with Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande, and I was like, "Oh my god, that's what I used to want to do," and I'm so much more happy that I'm doing what I'm doing now than doing that. And not that that's obviously, that's an amazing job. I'm not saying it in that way, but I'm saying that I wanted that for so long, and then I realized what I'm doing right now, I want more than that. And I can't tell you how many years I've been, like, punishing myself for, like, not pulling my finger out of my arse um, and going out there and creating my own opportunities to become a presenter. And, you know, I shamed myself for so long thinking that I should be doing that, and I didn't work hard enough, and I'm not productive enough, and actually I realized maybe it isn't actually what I wanted to do at all, and actually, again, I kept following my intuition instead of listening to my head. And now I'm in a position where I love what I do. I love the purpose of what I'm doing, and I'm so excited to create what I'm going to create. And I just wish I could tell my younger self, fucking let go. Just let the path take you where it wants to take you. And if you trust your intuition, you'll always make the right decisions. So that's lesson number 8. Oh my God, we're breezing through it. We've got 9, 10, 11, 12. 4 more. Okay. I don't know how long we've been going, but we've been making good progress. Okay, lesson 9. Just take action. Okay, over planning is where dreams go to die. Trust me. The first time I recorded an episode of a podcast was about 8 years ago. I struggle with perfection. I struggle with overthinking, and I have started so many projects that I have never finished. And there's, I haven't even started loads of projects. I planned loads of projects that I never even started. Fizzing with ideas. You look at the notes on my phone, fucking hell. If I'd even, just started half of those, I probably could be, fucking multimillionaire by now. Could have been way more fulfilled earlier on in my life than I was. But I didn't take action because I just overthought everything. And look, I didn't press start on the timer. Oh, never mind. Okay, I can bring it. I'll finish this one with this. When you don't do the things that you want to do or the things that you said you were going to do, it is really emotionally damaging for you because you start to judge yourself. You start to think you are the person that is not capable. You don't have it in you. You're not brave enough. You're not courageous enough. You're not good enough. And that over time will be compounding and it will become a limiting belief. And you do not want that to become you. So I bet every single one of you that's listening right now, there is something that you have had an idea to create or something that you want to do, a journey that you want to go on, a course you want to take, starting a fitness journey, maybe committing to that meal plan. There will be something that you are putting off. The longer you put that off, the more you will judge yourself. Okay. And the more you will assassinate yourself and believe that actually it's not for you and that you can't do it. So please, 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 I beg you in 2025, do that thing. Just take action. We'll pretend that was 3 minutes. Okay. Lesson 10, money now, bliss later. So listen, if life isn't meeting your expectations, it's going to cause unhappiness. That is the root of unhappiness, according to Mo Gaudat, when life isn't meeting your expectations. Lower your expectations and meet life where it is. Now, the reason why this is in relation to money is because Grindhouse ruined me financially. I spoke about this in a previous podcast episode, how much money I put in, how many years of work we put in not being paid, and I left with debt. I'm still paying off. Okay. And I left and I was like, okay, finally now I'm in the position to start doing all these things that I want to do, exercising this creative streak that I've always had because I'm not tied down to working for a specific business. I work for myself now. Even though I worked for myself at Grindhouse, it was different. I had responsibilities, other people to work with, right? Um, and so I really had to, um, have a chat with Louis, actually. And Louis was like, "Connor, all these things that you wanna do, that you wanna execute, you can do that when you've got money. But right now, you don't. You need to rebuild your finances. You need to get yourself to a point where you can then pay a team to help you do that." And oh my God, the tension that I went through this year, like thinking, oh, I've got an opportunity here to really, you know, do this and do that and do this idea that, I've been wanting to do this whole time. Couldn't afford to do it. I just couldn't afford to. So I then had to go, right, I'm going to focus on these. These are my financial goals. I've got to get to this point by the end of the year so that I can be in a position where I can start to then spend money on bringing these ideas to life that I've had for however many years. And so that sort of realization of like you listening right now, maybe there is something that you want to do and you won't feel fulfilled or you won't feel like you're happy until you've done that. Lower your expectations. Meet life where it is now and make a plan. Okay. If you accept, again, going back to that acceptance, if you accept where you are in your life right now and you make a plan, you can then enjoy the journey of building that plan and then getting to the point where you can have that bliss, where you can spend your days doing the thing that you want to do. Not saying that right now I don't enjoy doing what I want to do. It's just that, there are things that I want to explore, streaks in me that I just don't feel like I'll be fulfilled until I've explored. And I think that you may have the same, and it may be completely different to mine, but maybe you're in a job that you don't like and, you wanna get out of it. Okay, you can get out of it, but why not? Why not make it more realistic to go, "Actually, I'm just gonna fucking knuckle down for the next 2 years. I'm not gonna go away on holiday, and I'm gonna save all of the money that I would spend on holiday on getting my bank account to the point where it's here. Then I can leave that job, and then I can go and do that thing." Okay? So if you're feeling unhappy, it may just be because life isn't meeting your expectations, but life can meet your expectations if you make a plan, okay? So money now, bliss later. Um, 2 more. I hope I haven't sent you to sleep. That's whizzed through them because, I don't really like making these episodes longer than, like, 45 minutes because I just think we're new. I don't wanna demand too much of people's time when, we're still new, so I'm just keeping it like a demure sort of, like, 45 minutes. No idea what time I started. Probably should have checked that. We move. Lesson 11. Fuck the word should. Okay? Now, the word should. Oh, I should be at this point in my life. I should do this. I should do that. Should. Like, you're literally guilt tripping yourself by saying the word should. You're literally saying you're useless, you're not good enough, you didn't try hard enough. It's just like a really damaging word to keep using. Again, it's kind of going back to like that, what I just said in the last one, like meet life where it is, lower your expectations and make a plan. Like I had so much tension this year. I feel like tension's the word of the episode. Um, I had so much tension this year with trying to figure out what gains was. And again, people were like, "Oh, you should do this. You should do that. Why don't you do this? Because you should do that." And, you know, I was just like, "Fuck off. Just everyone fuck off. This is my business. I wanna take it slow. I wanna do this for the right reasons. I don't want another fucking failed flop because I tried to build some, like, grand business model that was gonna take over the world. That's just not what I want." And so I got really sort of like I pushed everyone away and I just sort of like was like, "I'm just gonna do what I wanna do." And, when I realized that I was trying to build initially in my head, I was trying to build like something that was investable, like my previous business. And then I kind of was like, "Oh, I'm doing that because somebody told me I should do that because then it would be investable." I don't want it to be fucking investable. I don't want investors breathing down my neck asking for quarterly numbers. Like, this business will take as slowly as it takes because it isn't for me, it is for the community, and I only wanna do what the community wants. And if that isn't the most grand money-making, fucking, scalable idea in the world, I don't care. I'm just gonna carry on doing what I feel like is the right thing to do. And, you know, I'm relating it to business in order to relate it more to you. Like, if you, don't have a business or whatever, where are you saying should? Like, really pay attention to where you keep saying to yourself, "I should do this. I should do that." Sometimes if it's like, "I should quit vaping," I mean, yeah, come on, like, it's your intuition kind of telling you, like, "Oh, I should probably do that," right? But when it's like, "Oh, I should be at this point in my life," or I should be going to that party that I don't really want to go to. Cody Pops, fuck should. Do what you wanna do, okay? Oh my god, guys, we got to the last lesson. Lesson number 12. I feel like there's gonna be a lot of fucks in this one as well. Sorry, I feel like the word tension, the word fuck has been banded around a lot in this episode. So if you don't like swearing, I'm sorry, maybe this podcast is not for you. I'm joking. Please don't leave, come back. Lesson 12. Stopwatch on. Fuck fear. Reading back my journal for this episode, I just realized I was full of fear. Fear of, building another business, fear of failing, fear of not creating work I was proud of, fear of going back into recovery, fear of acceptance, fear of breaking up with my boyfriend, fear of losing more friends. Like, I was just full of fear. But the reason why you're full of fear is because you don't want to feel those same heavy feelings that you've felt prior, right? It's your brain trying to protect you. But if you don't have fearlessness, you're just gonna become very comfortable, and that is a one-way ticket to being unfulfilled. I, as I said, have had a really tough 18 months mentally. I can now say that this past week, having just, done the Gaines Christmas party and really stepping back and observing what I built this year, I feel like a different person in my mind. And that was because I lent into that fear and I said, fuck it. If I made it through this year and I made it out the other side, fine. I can make it through the next year. And I can make it through potentially another failed business. And I can lose another friend. And I can, I don't know, whatever. I can execute that idea that turns out to be a flop. Just trust the process and just know that you will figure it out and you will be okay. It's just a feeling. Feelings are not facts. Feelings, they are heavy. They can make you lie on a sofa for a week straight and eat chocolate because you broke up with your boyfriend and you felt like you had a fucking sugar addiction because you'd given up alcohol and drugs. Like, fine, made it through, came out the other side, was only a week, you know? So just understand that any heaviness, anything that you are fearing, you will be fine. It will hurt. Yeah, that is life. It will hurt and it will be difficult. You will make it out the other side and you'll be a better person because of it. So in 2025, I just want you to fuck fear. I want you to look at where you are feeling a lot of fear and a lot of tension. And I want you to remind yourself, just do it anyway. Go forward. Text that person. Break up with that boyfriend or friend. Start that new business venture. Do the thing that scares you because you will step into a new version of yourself. And one thing that is just, I think what gives me so much joy in life is helping people be more powerful versions of themselves. I do it with my coaching, right? Um, I hate seeing people not living a life that they like, and I've been there. I've lived a life that I don't like, and I had to do the work to pull myself out of it. Otherwise, right now, I would still be a fucking cracked out dick pig, somewhere in the depths of London, wasting away because I hadn't eaten in a week or slept. I had to do the work to pull myself out, right? And I hate people not being a powerful version of themselves. So next year, you're going to be a powerful version of yourself. We both are. And we're going to fuck fear. Guys, they're my 12 lessons for life. That is everything that I felt like I learned this year. And it was really, I don't know, weird for me it was quite emotional actually, like going back and like looking through my journal. There was some nice moments actually where I was like, oh my God, I put that as my goal for the year and I literally did it in Q1. Or, oh my God, I was having so much tension around that. What was the point in worrying about that the whole time? It was really quite, emotional. So, I hope that there was something in there that I said that has been helpful. Um, Again, like, I don't want to come across like I am fucking the almighty Buddha who is all-knowing and has trained in anything other than literally musical theatre, comedy writing, and personal training. Like, let's be honest, they're my qualifications. So please, like, take this advice with a pinch of salt. I was just giving you a little peek into my head because I love to be vulnerable. I love to be an open book, because I just think you can only help people by doing that. So, no Louis this week. I feel like we didn't have many laughs today. Sorry. The next episode though, because I am about to film another episode now, is a little bit more lighthearted. So if you feel on the brink of absolutely downing a bottle of wine because your whole life just came crashing down in front of you on this podcast, maybe just, wait until 2 weeks' time, listen to the next episode, and then if you still want to drink that bottle of wine on the sofa and slam 1,000 bags of chocolate coins, then do it then. Love ya. And guys, don't forget to give us a cheeky follow. You can leave comments on Spotify now. We're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Give us a watch on YouTube. And just, leave a little comment. Let us know that you're watching because I've been watching these numbers go up every week. Every time we release a new podcast episode, it exceeds the amount of downloads that it gets in 2 weeks, every single episode, which means people are coming back. And it means people are actually listening and new people are joining. So it's making me very happy. So would love you to just, give it a follow, send to somebody that you think would enjoy it. And yeah, just if you've got a question for us, ask it. Or even if it's just a little message to say, hey, I'm listening. I love it. It really, really means a lot to us. And I love you. Thank you for listening.